There we go. This video will contain spoilers. I would activate that thing to see what it is. Obviously, it's going to be crypto, but I'm running low on data, so I want to get through it as quickly as I can. Superman 25, universally positive ratings, directed by James Gunn. I seen it in cinema with Dylan, Dylan's cousin, Ben Man, and Ginger. Now I can turn off. David Cornsweet, Rachel Brosnahan, Nicholas Hoult, Millie Alcock, Nathan Fillion, Isabella Merced, Bradley Cooper, Frank Grillo, Skylar Gisondo, Anthony Carrigan, Alan Tudyk, William Reeve, Sean Gunn, Michael Rooker, and John Cena appears in it as Peacemaker, and Paul McClementy voices one of the robots in the Fortress of Solitude. Let's be honest, we all went into this knowing it was going to be peak. This is the first Superman film in 12 years. As long as you don't count Batman v Superman, which I wouldn't. I don't count it as a Batman film or Superman film. It's a Batman v Superman film. If you want to categorize it as anything, I would call it a Justice League film. Because it's not just those two. You've got Wonder Woman and Aquaman as well. But I really enjoy Man of Steel. I think Zack Snyder's vision for DC was underrated. I don't think it's as bad as people say it is. It's just there were so many snags that caused fuck-ups. Not all of them were his fault. That being said, is James Gunn's vision better? 1000 fucking percent. But as much as I like Man of Steel, it does have a positive rating on IMDb, a mixed rating overall. A lot of people wouldn't consider it a good film, so going off of the popular opinion, this is the first good Superman film in 45 years, because the last good Superman film, I would say, is Superman 2, which came out in 1980. Because what have we had since then? Superman 3, which I'll admit I haven't seen, but it's got terrible ratings. Superman 4, which I haven't seen, but has even worse ratings. And Superman Returns, which the potential was there, but they fucked it to death. It was so, it has got to be one of the most wasted potential for a film. The grammar in that sentence was shit, but you get what I mean. I'm tired of people saying that they don't care about Superman because he doesn't have a lot of flaws. If whatever villain he's up against doesn't have kryptonite, then the man's basically immortal. And if we're talking about the comics, then yeah, you have a fair point, because the comics have been going on since 1938, and they're doing at least 2 a month, because you've got Action Comics and you've got Superman, and then in the 90s they had 4 different Superman runs, which means you were getting 1 a week. But, so, there's over 1,000 issues of Action Comics, there's probably over 1,000 issues of Superman, and then you've got all the other series, and then him appearing in the Justice League and other things like that. If you're talking about the comics, that's fair. If you're talking about the films, it's not fair in my opinion, because all there really is Superman 1, Superman 2, Superman Returns, Man of Steel, and Superman 25. That's 5 films. Yeah, that's just double checking. I'll admit, I don't like the fact that most of them, well, not even most, all of them have the same villains. Just the same 2 over and over again. Superman 78 was Lex Luthor. Superman 2 was General Zod. Superman Returns was Lex Luthor. Man of Steel was General Zod. And Superman 25 is Lex Luthor. I really want to see Brainiac in a film, but it has yet to happen. Other than, like, but I think for the sake of this being the start of the Gunverse, I know that they call it the DCU, but I really don't want to call it that. I'm just going to call it the Gunverse. That way it's easily, you can tell what it is. Because the Gunverse, its real name is the DC Universe, DCU, and the Snyderverse's real name is the DCEU, DC Extended Universe. It gets kind of confusing that way, so I'm just going to call it the Snyderverse and the Gunverse. This being the start of the Gunverse, I think it was a good idea to have Lex Luthor be the main villain. I'd rather it be that than, say, you have Brainiac as the main villain of this film and then have Lex Luthor appear, because you just can't. It wouldn't really make sense if you were to either not have Lex appear at all in the film, even if you make up the excuse that he's in prison or something. It wouldn't really work out. Or have him appear. But then it kind of feels forced, because, like, apart from Man of Steel, Lex Luthor has appeared in all 5 films. But let's not talk about Jesse Eisenberg's Lex Luthor. I'm glad that they went with an unknown like David Corn Sweat, and then filled the rest of the cast with celebrities. I think that was great. I always saw James Gunn as like a sort of music director. Like, music is a very big focus of his films. Like, you know, started Guardians, you had Come Get Your Love, and then I can't think of anything in particular in Guardians 2. Guardians 3, you had Creep and No Sleep Till Brooklyn. Suicide Squad, you had that song, I don't remember the name, like the actual name of it, but it's the one about the people who died. Like, just, it's the same with Edgar Wright. I consider Edgar Wright a very music director, but James Gunn is more so. And this film really gets that point across with the, I don't remember the name of it, the song that plays on the beach where Mr. Terrific is fighting all the people at the army base, and then the punk rocker song. Speaking of punk rock, I thought this was just a line in the film, but James Gunn repeated it in an interview with GQ magazine. There's a line in the film where Clark says that basically in a world filled with despair and negativity, that being positive is kind of punk rock. It's very rebellious to be a good person in the modern day. I agree with that 100%. That is so true. I feel like with my job, it kind of proves that point right. I'm not going to get into any detail about that. Maybe I'll make a video on it. Maybe I won't. James said that Superman is about an immigrant, and, you know, he's trying to use the film to say immigrants aren't bad people, you can't kick them out, and all that. And because of that, people are accusing the film of being woke. Don't do that. Don't accuse it of being woke. There's nothing in the trailer to say that it's woke. If you've seen the trailer, I assume the people that are saying this refuse to see the film. You cannot call the film woke unless you've actually seen it. Or maybe if you see actual evidence, not just the director saying something, because my opinion on the film is just as valid as James Gunn's opinion on the film. Like, that's the good thing about art, where even if James had a clear sort of message of the film, I can take it in a whole different direction, and my opinion is just as valid as his is. So, is the film woke? No. It it's not in your face. It's all metaphorical. So you can either choose to see it as a metaphor for immigrants, or you can choose not to see it as a metaphor for immigrants. I do think that James saying that is stupid, because I'll see if I can find this post by the Babylon Bee. Here it is. James Gunn released film about the importance of accepting morally upstanding white immigrants who speak perfect English. The only thing I would change about that is getting rid of the white part, because race doesn't really matter. The point is that with the deportations that are going on in America, and the deportations that have been promised over here, that as far as I know have not happened yet, it's not that they're deporting literally every single immigrant ever. They're deporting the people that immigrated illegally. People who cross the border without going through the proper process. And the reason why there's a process is because you need to make sure that you're bringing in people who are not criminals. Because, one of the border hoppers could be like a mass murderer or a terrorist or something. I'm not saying that they're all terrorists, but it's just, why is it that you can't go through the legal process? That's kind of suspicious. Maybe I'm wrong, but I feel like the reason why you would need to hop the border illegally is because you can't get in legally. And you can't get in legally because you have done something wrong, like you are a criminal of some kind. So, it's just... James isn't all that good at politics. There was a scene in Peacemaker where Waller's daughter called the bad guys libertarian fascists. It's counterproductive. It's like a black KKK member, you know. But anyway, I just want to show this post as well, because it kind of... I can't bring it back to Superman, but I do want to talk briefly about Ironheart, because I've finished Ironheart now. No, wait, I'll do the... Ignore me. I'll leave this up here, but back to the Superman. Dylan went into it thinking, Superman sucks, it's boring, it's the same thing over and over again, blah, blah, blah. He's not going to enjoy it. He enjoyed it. We all enjoyed it. It's really fucking good. The action is amazing. Like, goddamn. I thought that with the whole thing of the close-up of him flying, where he's basically, like, right in front of the camera, like, people made memes comparing it to, like, the scene in Guardians 3 where Adam Warlock's flying. There's a scene in Black Adam where he's flying, and it seems to become a staple of recent superhero films. But it worked really, really well this time. Like, Black Adam, you can poke fun at. Guardians, I don't really remember what it was like all that much. But this, like, the scene in the trailer is whatever, but then they did it a couple more times to do it when he's panicking about something. I think it was the Fortress of Solitude being broken into. and like the camera was shaking this time, and it's just it showcases the panic really fucking well. And then there was another time where he's fighting a big dragon type thing, and all the close-ups of the fighting and all, and you would think you're gonna use long shots for a fight scene, but no, they use close-ups and it works really, really well. Like, I'm gonna hold off on making this comment, but I'll say that I will make this comment if I'm right. See if James Gunn does do the Gunverse well, and whatever his next film will be, does it well. James Gunn will be the best director, period. Better than all living directors, better than all dead directors. He'll be better than Martin Scorsese, Quentin Tarantino, Wes Anderson, Francis Ford Coppola, Ridley Scott, Alfred Hitchcock, Stanley Kubrick, Orson Welles. I'm not going to go on any further than that, but you get the point. I actually said to Dylan's cousin that I'm going to make a fake name for him. I'm going to call him Wookie, like Loki, but with a W, because he's bi. That's a joke that he finds funny, by the way. Don't get offended on his behalf. I said to him, like, James Gunn is God. Actually, I can't think of something. I was about to say I can't think of anything to say before I repeat myself, but I can't think of something. I think that the way that they sort of set up Supergirl, like a problem that the MCU has sort of is when a big threat emerges in a film. Take Thunderbolts, for example. Why didn't anyone else show up to defeat Sentry? Like, you had the Thunderbolts. Why didn't, I don't know, Kate Bishop show up? Or Ironheart, you know? But this film explained why Supergirl didn't show up very, very well. And the reason is that she was off planet partying because it's her 21st birthday. And, well, I think I joke around and say that they made her an alcoholic and all that. But it is, I do find that really funny, and it's sort of cute and all. But I think it could be like a really good lead-in to the Supergirl film, because that's next. And I think that what they could do is that she's planet hopping, going from one party to another. Eventually, she meets Lobo, which they've already confirmed that he'll be in the film. And either Lobo will be the villain, or he'll just be there. And I think it's going to be really fucking good. The fact that I just realised that I didn't say like the most important thing that there is to say. David Corenswet is the best Superman ever. Rachel Brosnahan is the best Lois Lane ever, which admittedly isn't all that hard to do, because, like, you know, when it comes to Superman, you've got Christopher Reeve, who's great. You've got Brandon Routh, who, even though Superman Returns was shit, he was great as Superman. Henry Cavill's great, and Tyler Hoechlin is great. As for Lois Lane, Margot Kidder, I think, did quite a good job, even though part of what made it work is the fact that Margot Kidder and Christopher Reeve did not click off screen. I forget the name. Kate Bosworth wasn't all that good as Lois. I think Amy Adams was good, but it's just, why is she ginger? She didn't really feel all that much like Lois. Erica Durance was really good. And speaking of Smallville, I forgot to mention Tom Welling. He's great as Superman, even though he technically isn't Superman. I would still count it though. And Elizabeth Julick is great as Lois Lane. But Rachel knocks them all out of the park. As for Lex Luthor confuses me. I haven't read a lot of the comics, so maybe when I do get around to reading them, it'll make more sense to me. But I feel like, what is it that makes Lex Luthor so hard to do? Like, there are villains who have been done as many times as Lex Luthor, maybe even more, where I can see why it's hard to do. Like the Joker, I can see why it's hard to do the Joker. But what is it about Lex? Because Lex is just cold and calculated. Like, I would have thought that he's someone who remains calm, but yet in this film, he, no, well, pun intended, he mauls the entire fucking film. So why is it that I can say this with absolute certainty? Nicholas Hoult is the best Lex Luthor we've ever had. Like, Gene Hackman was quite good, although I don't like the fact that he didn't shave his head, or at very least wear a bald cap. I wasn't the biggest fan of that. Kevin Spacey, you would have thought he'd be perfect for the role, but he just wasn't. It could be the writing, but he was just shit as Lex Luthor. Like, the only thing that makes him memorable is the scene where he's getting like all cocky and kidding around with Lois, where he's like, "Oh, go on, say the thing." Fine, I'll say the thing. Superman will never, and he just shouts out wrong. That's the only reason why he's memorable, because of that shit scene. The same way that Fantastic Four, 2015, is only memorable because of "Say That Again." But moving on, Michael Rosenbaum is really good. I have yet to see what do you call him? Michael Culpritz, and I think John Cryer did a decent job, but I think he's one of those comedic actors that can't do drama. Then again, can you really call him a comedic actor? 2.5 Men is not funny. But yeah, Nicholas is the best. He's the GOAT. Skylar is the best Jimmy Olsen, which isn't hard to do because I don't even know if Jimmy Olsen was in the Christopher Reeve films. I can't remember. I think Smallville and Superman Returns, like, and then Snyderverse. What the fuck? But and what was he in Supergirl? I think he was that black guy from Supergirl, but I can't remember. It was so long ago that I'd seen it. If that was Jimmy Olsen, why is he black? Like, I feel like being ginger is part of Jimmy Olsen's character. But anyway, one last thing. The whole thing of like the portals into like, it's like a realm in between dimensions or something that they go through. It seems a little multiversal to me, and I thought, why the fuck are you doing multiverse shit in the first film? Literally the second project in the universe. But now that I think about it, maybe James sees something I don't. I think he's tiptoeing to see one, if people will accept it, because, like, people seen Ant-Man and then immediately went, oh, I hate all this multiverse stuff, when that's all there really was at the time. Like, yeah, there was Loki, but Loki wasn't really multiverse. Like, me, I've been putting up with multiverse stuff for years because of the Arrowverse, and I think it's great. I think it's amazing. But mainstream people only watch like the mainstream stuff, like most people my age now. All they'll have really seen is the stuff in the MCU, and even then there's stuff in the MCU they won't have seen, like What If. So really all it was season, not I was about to say season 2, but season 2 isn't even multiversal. Like, it was just Ant-Man and Doctor Strange. And yeah, Ant-Man sucked, and I loved Doctor Strange, but most people hated it, I'll give you that. Just because they're bad doesn't mean that the multiverse stuff is bad, it's just that they fucked up. Like, good concept, bad delivery, you know? But maybe he's tiptoeing to see if people will accept it for DC, because DC hasn't done it before. And just to try and set it up. I'm gonna sort of change the rules for what I do with the MCU shows from now on, unless they explicitly say at the end that it's renewed. I'm going to assume that it's one season, that it's over and done. So, Loki said that season 2 was coming at the very end of season 1. I think What If said it as well, but the rest didn't say it, and they never got sequels, or that's that second season. So here we go. Final review. Ironheart. Is the show woke? No. Is the show bad? No. It's a little procedural for the first couple episodes, which I think, it's a 6-episode show on streaming. Why the fuck are you making it procedural? But it's not like it's unconnected to all the other episodes. Like, it does go on. The proceduralism is what leaps the story forward. It doesn't hold it back, unlike most procedurals. Really, the only bad thing I have to say about the show is the fact that how episode 6 ended. I think Sacha Baron Cohen, I liked his portrayal of Mephisto. I don't know anything about Mephisto. I think he's that guy that fucked with Jean Grey in X-Men 97, but I can't remember. People kept on posting memes like, oh, this is Mephisto in the MCU, and it's just Borat. And it's just memes. It's not intended to be malicious, but it just seems malicious. And it's like, he's not fucking playing Borat. Like, Sacha Baron Cohen is a comedian, and usually when comedians do drama, they knock it out of the park. And it's not like this is his first time doing drama. He did a show called, I believe, The Spy a while back. That I wasn't a fan of the show, but he did do a good job. That was a drama. But the problem I have with the last episode is that, Riri goes through all this character development, and she defeats Parker, the Hood, and she meets Mephisto, and Mephisto offers her a deal, and she takes it. Like, just why? It makes the whole show feel like that it's not going anywhere. Yeah, obviously this is supposed to lead into something. Maybe Black Panther 3 or the Eyes of Wakanda show, although I doubt that, where she will be the villain. But it's just, what the fuck was the point in having her go through all that character development for her to have not really had any character development, at least any meaningful character development? Like, I feel like the way that they should have done it was that they make you feel like if Mephisto appeared at the start and offered her the deal, she would take it, but because of all the character development, by the end she wouldn't have taken it because she knows that it's not worth it. And she even said to Parker that it's not worth it, but now when it comes to her, she's like, oh no, it's fine, I'll sacrifice myself to bring back Natalie. Never mind the fact that Mephisto's getting even more powerful through the fact that the deal's being made and all that. But hey, it is what it is. That's the only problem with the show. At least the only major problem, I think. The show is on the same level as if Falcon and the Winter Soldier is a 6.5 and Moon Knight is a 7, this is like a 6.7, 6.8. Just some updates about what's going on. 2 DLC reviews coming soon. After that, I don't think there'll be much. I was playing Doom 2016 because I never actually got the collectibles. So I was going back and doing that, but there won't be any reviews for it because I already played the game. So I've got those 2 DLCs, and then I think after that I might go on to the Sam and Max remastered trilogy, but I'm not gonna do reviews for those because I've already played Sam and Max, and I feel like it's not gonna be the type of remaster that I think it's worth talking about. And then after that, there'll be a DLC or a game. I'm not too sure if it. There's something that came out today. I haven't downloaded it yet because I didn't have the space for that and those DLCs. So I chose those DLCs over this. This thing, I don't actually know if it's a game or a DLC. It could be something like Infamous First Light, where it's technically both. But so that'll be coming soon. Before Sam and Max, to be clear. And then Sam and Max. The only problem with Sam and Max is that they don't take up much space. Like, all the games I have that aren't Yakuza, I don't really want to play. Like, I'm not in the mood for them, and I don't think I ever will be. But I do want to get through them so I can delete them and get my space back, because I want to go through some massive games that I can't download right now because I don't have the space for it. Problem is, Sam Max doesn't take up a lot of space. There's another game that I'm not going to say what it is because I'll be doing reviews for it, that they don't take up a lot of space. And there's another game I won't mention because it doesn't take up a lot of that. I can't remember what space it takes up. Like, really, the only thing is there's a remake that I will do reviews for that takes up like 50 gigs, but it's just 50 gigs. I need like 300 at least. At least those 2 DLCs will give me like 200 gigs, so maybe it'll be enough.